Earlier, we talked about the various types of kidney stones and how we can evaluate them depending on the size of the stone. Today, we look at some of the treatment options. And these are the primary treatment options which are available. One is called ESWL, or extracorporeal shock wave lithotripsy. This means that it's a huge machine which is very, very expensive. They send in shock waves from outside and break the stone which is in the kidney. And then we have what is called PCNL. Here, with special equipment, small holes are drilled in the kidney and the stones are broken and taken out. And then we have the open surgery, where you need to make a huge cut because kidneys are well hidden behind the ribs and right at the back. So you need to make a huge incision to reach the kidney, cut open the kidney and remove the stone. These are the classical treatment options. And we'll also discuss ureteroinoscopy, or through the normal urinary passage, is a recently developed special technique. And this ESWL was developed by an aircraft company. They noticed that when the small birds hit these aircrafts, they can send shock waves that can destroy even the aeroplanes. So then when they worked further on it, they came up with this machine, which of course is very expensive. And it sends shock waves from various directions, which concentrate on the stone and break the stone. So if the stone is between 1.5 and 2 centimeters in size, this is the ideal one. And it is so expensive that not all the urban areas have such machines. And also you need to note that sometimes with larger stones, they need to have a DJ stent or a tube inside the body. PCNL again is a very specialist procedure because you need good anesthesiologists, radiographers and urologists to do the procedure. But the advantage is that it can be removed in one sitting. And because small hole is drilled in the kidney, even though it's called a minimally invasive procedure, can have some complications like serious bleeding. And here also, if the stones are large, we need to leave a DJ stent inside the body. Open surgeries, as we mentioned earlier, because the position of the kidney is such that you need to make huge incisions. And this also has some complications because once you open the kidney, there is a chance of bleeding from the kidney, which is quite high because almost 1/4 of the blood which comes from the heart goes into each of the kidney. And how do you treat these stones? The smaller stones, the small stones which are less than 5 millimeters in size, most of them will pass out by itself, provided you drink a lot of water. The reason they form is you take less water. But once you take sufficient water to pass about 3.5 liters of urine in a day, most of them will pass by itself. But if they are slightly larger, say up to 7 millimeters, then we can give some special medicines which decreases the inflammation and also helps the ureter or the tube which connects the kidney to the bladder to dilate and allow the stones to pass. And any of these methods, you need to drink enough water to push the stones outside the body. And then for medium-sized stones, so what we normally do is that we place a tube inside the body called DJ stent. This tube extends from the kidney to the urinary bladder. It makes the ureter or the passage dilate and become 2.5 to 3 times the original size. This will allow the stones to come down by itself. And also this movement which causes while you're walking and running and so on will again facilitate the movement of the stone down. And any foreign body, including a stone, the body tries to push it out. And because this extends right from the kidney to the bladder, it's a concerted and large effect by the body to push it out. So stones up to the medium-sized stones, most of them will pass by itself. If they don't come out by itself, then it is easy to do through the normal urinary passage. You pass a special instrument called ureterorenoscope and break the stone into small pieces and remove the stones. And if the stones are large, again, the same procedure can be done. But only difference is that each may have to do it repeatedly 2-3 times, because you break the stone and you need time to allow the stones to come down. During this time, you place a degestant so there are no complications occur. Then you remove the degestant, break some more, then replace the stent. So this might have to be repeated 2-3 times. But then the good thing is that these procedures are done through normal urinary passage. So there is no pain or anything associated with it. So you just have to get admitted, have the procedure done, and the next day you can go back to your normal work. And the admission again is necessary only because the surgery is done under spinal anesthesia or general anesthesia. It's for the sake of anesthesia. And this is a technique that we have been using in rural areas for a long time. And we have treated more than 5,000 patients with this techniques. The only drawback of this is that if the stones are found in the lower calyx or the lower portion of the kidneys, because it's a rigid instrument, and when you pass from below, it's easy to reach the upper or middle portion of the kidney. But then recently we have developed newer techniques which we use for manipulating the stone and removing even the lower calyceal stones. And the important thing to remember in the post-operative period is that it is the water which makes the urine, the stone come out in the urine. So you need to drink enough water to pass about 3.5 liters of urine in a day. And these stents again are foreign bodies. They're not part of the normal body and should not be kept for more than 3 to 6 months. The normal digestants you should remove within 3 months. The special stents can be kept for about 6 months. But then the earlier removed, the better it is. And again, as long as the stents are there, you need to keep on drinking enough water to pass sufficient urine so that the stones don't get deposited on the stent, and whatever stone fragments are there, they pass. And there may be a little bit of discomfort because the passage is remaining open all the time. But then within a few days, people will get used to this. So in summary, this technique of ureterorenoscopic removal is a very safe technique and possible anywhere in the rural areas where spinal anesthesia can be given. And even if it needs to be repeated a few times, it's a safe surgery, and since there's no cutting, there's hardly any pain and morbidity which are associated with the stone disease.